welcome. We're going to get started. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the 7th Annual National Summit for Health Communication. It's wonderful to see so many people together. This is like nearly fully packed in the room, which is awesome. Definitely a lot more people than last year, so it's great to see as people start trickling out, traveling again. It's great to be together. For those of you who I haven't met, my name is Michael Grilla. I'm the Head of Reputation and Social Impact for About Kind, which is a global health communications agency. I'm based in New York. And I'm also very proud to be the president of the Society for Health Communication, working alongside Ashani, Diane, Stacy, so many others here in the room. I'd like to begin by introducing myself in inclusive terms. I'm a white male with dark brown hair, blue eyes, and a mustache. I'm wearing a white button-down shirt and a black suit and no ties. Mark and I coordinated on no ties today. My pronouns are he, him, his. I want to acknowledge that today we are meeting on the indigenous lands of Turtle Island, the ancestral land for what is now called North America. I also want to acknowledge all the American Indian and indigenous peoples and communities who have been or have become part of these lands and territories in Texas. Last summit, we started out by reflecting on the state of the world, which can be quite dark, but we're going to do it again anyway, because there's a lot going on, and I think it's good just to kind of get some of the stuff out here as we kind of start the day. So, you know, we've had some really significant public health milestones in the last year, positive ones, including the official end of the COVID-19 global health emergency. Yeah, there you go. There we go. That's the positive. But there are also many other issues, including COVID continues to be a major public health issue that we are kind of impacting our everyday and the work that we do. So the 3+ year global pandemic that's devastated families and communities around the world, which has also eroded trust in our field and ultimately created an even more fractured and embattled public health system, which I don't need to tell all of you about, obviously. Ongoing economic and financial volatility and instability, which causes great stress and uncertainty, including recent and massive layoffs across tech and other industries. I think we all feel that every day in our work. I know I definitely do. A raging war in Ukraine, countless mass shootings in the US, and political unrest, violence, and division across the world. And a lot of political drama. I think every day it seems like a new thing that really zaps the air out of the media landscape in our lives. An assault on women's rights in the U.S. with Roe being overturned last year, which has sent off a wave of state-level healthcare restrictions and bans. And an continued increase in hate crimes and violence against historically discriminated communities, including a rise in anti-Semitism, Asian hate, and nearly 500 laws in the U.S. targeting the rights of LGBTQIA community, and so much more. And at the same time, within our industry, and especially with the sudden rise of new technologies, including ChatGPT and AI tools, which we're going to talk about, Mary's here, we're experiencing rapid change in our industry like never before. I feel like every year we talk about, oh, there's so many things emerging and changing. It's TikTok, it's this. But this really feels like a sea change where there's just, it's hard to kind of keep track of. And if you're like me, it can create a lot of anxiety. So we're going to talk about those things. So I mentioned all this not to dwell on the negative or to completely stress us out, but to open up space to recognize some of what folks here in our communities are experiencing, have experienced already, and just urge everyone to have patience, understanding with one another as we unpack these very complicated, serious, and in some cases triggering issues and topics. So just, you know, give everyone a little bit of grace as we talk about these topics. As a Society for Health Communication, we have a critical role to play in navigating these really challenging issues in an ever-changing environment. We take that responsibility very seriously. So that's why we've shaped today's agenda around the intersection of clarity, creativity, and equity. 3 core values that we believe are critical to our work, and when embedded into our efforts, can help us move forward, strengthen the field, and ultimately increase health equity among our communities. I think I only have one more slide for this section, which is, oops, sorry. A picture of me. Just want to make sure I'm advancing them enough. So we hope that today you'll have a greater understanding of some of these issues that you're facing, You'll approach the sessions with curiosity, openness, and even optimism. I also want us to consider how we are with one another. We're in person, whether you're online. This is a unique opportunity to identify and spark new solutions with one another, forge new partnerships, and ultimately strengthen our community. And while I know this is a somewhat serious conference, and we all want to do a good job, and we want to show up professionally, let's also try and have some fun, possibly. In our industry, in my industry specifically, public relations, we often say it's PR, not ER. But honestly, our jobs are very hard. Like everyone here has very hard, stressful jobs. They're complicated, they're stressful. We're working on very important and sensitive topics related to people's personal health and well-being. Many of us are running teams and even organizations, as well as navigating interpersonal and development topics and challenges on top of everything else that we have going on personally. So as Ashani would say, it's a lot, y'all. So whether you're here in Austin or online, please look for moments to connect not just professionally, but personally with one another, and hopefully we'll have a little fun. I also want to take a note that while we'll address a lot of complicated topics and new trends and concepts, we have included practical recommendations, information, and resources with the purpose of making your lives a little better and easier. So we've heard from you in the past. We know we really want to make sure we have practical takeaways. So our goal is to make sure that that's included in every session. And lastly, our goal is to create a day full of insightful conversation and learning, but really it's up to all of you to make the most of our time together. So after the summit, we'll go back to our daily lives and the challenges we each face, sometimes in small circles, maybe even on our own. So whether you're an extrovert or you're an introvert like me, or a seasoned professional, or whether you're in school, each of you has something to offer, and we encourage you to put yourself out there. I know some of you all did last night in the happy hour. Introduce yourself to others, add each other on LinkedIn, exchange business cards, emails, do whatever it takes to create some connections, keep the learning going after today, and to continue to build and strengthen our community. Okay, so next I'll just take a moment to talk a little bit about the Society for those of you who may be new to our group, and welcome. I'm very proud that we're continuing to grow, both through our organizational members as well as our individual members, which means new perspectives, new ideas, new opportunities to advance our field. Now in our 7th year, the Society includes nearly 5,000 colleagues, which is really great. I was talking with Tony earlier, and like we started out, there's Tony in the back, our former president. We started out a small group of people. I think the first summit was less than 50 maybe. So it's great to have 5,000 members and have a couple hundred folks here between online and in person. And we really cross all different sectors: health communication, public health, healthcare, digital health, academia, research, and so many more. And for this year's summit, we have representatives from more sectors than ever before. I know Diane and we were all chatting about just like the great representation that we have from all different industries, from federal government down to the local health departments and really everywhere in between. And I also just want to take a moment to thank our executive director, Diane Brodalski, for all of her work on today's summit and yesterday's workshops. Absolutely. It's a lot of work. So to her and to the entire planning committee, thank you so much for your investment of your time, creative thinking, determination to ensure that the summit is successful and impactful. So speaking of leadership, a big thank you also to our sponsors, Deloitte, Vokine, Westat, Communicate Health, WebMD, and Medscape, Tanat Health, NORC at the University of Chicago, Forest Marsh, Black Health, Hager Sharp, Burness, Carnet, and JBS International. We greatly appreciate your generous support for the summit. Obviously, we would not be here without all of you, so thank you so much for your contributions. And lastly, just a huge shout out to Dr. Mike Macker and former Dean Jay Bernhardt and everyone at UT who's been instrumental to making the summit a success. UT is a huge sponsor of the summit and has been many, many years, if not since the very beginning. And really just appreciate all of your tremendous support throughout the planning and implementation process.